Okay, here's another one that has to do with our discussion about the Middle Ages. This is one of the funnest things about the Middle Ages. These things are called Gothic cathedrals. They're great achievements, frankly cultural achievements, even in a time with no culture of the Middle Ages. Okay, so let's take a look. Right, what you're actually going to do today is you're going to draw a picture with me. I've sent you some photos, we'll look at those, then you're going to draw a picture with me. Okay, so here we go. Let's start off with the pictures that I sent you. These are all examples of Gothic cathedrals. These are big Roman Catholic churches. That's basically what they are. They're big Roman Catholic churches that really sort of rose in really the 1100s and the 1200s and the 1300s. They took sometimes decades to build, and they were built in usually very small little towns. Like this famous one is the Bourges Cathedral. They're mostly associated with what we would call today the country of France. Okay, and you can see that one of the unique aspects. This is one of the most famous one of all at Chartres, small, tiny little town just north and west of Paris. One of the unique features of all Gothic cathedrals is they're shaped like a cross. Do you notice that? How they're shaped like a cross, and then the altar is on the inside right below where the cross occurs. The most famous one of all is probably Notre Dame, which is in right downtown Paris. Okay. Now, one of the unique features that I'm going to get to here is these things on the outside that you see right here, and I'll give you their name. And these are some examples of this at the cathedral at Chartres. I took this photograph. I'll tell you their names in a second, but these are big support beams from the outside, and I'll explain their purpose in just a moment. This is a photo from the inside of Chartres Cathedral, and you can see that one of the things that they try to do is they try to make it, as soon as you walk in the door, and I've been to a bunch of these in France, and they're really, really cool, is to look up. The sense of why do Roman Catholics look up? They look up because that's where heaven is. Okay, so you can see that these walls are extremely high. This is also the interior of Chartres, and they have a very unique thing there. They have a labyrinth on the floor, and what you were supposed to do, these big cathedrals created tourism, because people from all over Europe would want to come to particular cities, small cities, to go see these great cathedrals. And what you did when you went to the Chartres Cathedral is your journey wasn't done until you walked the labyrinth. And this is basically just tiles in the floor, stones in the floor, and you would enter here, obviously, and you did the whole thing, and you'd walk through it until you got to the center. You said your rosary as you were going through there. These are the side walls, and I'll come back to this picture in just a moment. This is actually in the side of Notre Dame, and I'll make a point of this one here in just a moment, but this is the interior, and again, you take a look up as soon as you get in there. This is one of the other things known about Gothic cathedrals is stained glass windows. Okay, and I'll show you more about this. This is often called the rose window, this big circular one, and I'll show you that as well. Okay, they're also known for their big towers. There's a picture of me and my wife. She wasn't my wife way back then, but she is today. And that picture was taken, as a matter of fact, way the heck right up here on that. So we, right there, were standing way the heck up there when I had this picture taken. But I want you to see the gargoyle right down there. And I'll come back to the gargoyle. See him right there? Okay, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. Once we get going here, I'll come back to that in just a moment as well. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I hope you have a blank piece of paper, and we're going to draw a picture. We're going to draw a picture, and we're going to sort of describe how the heck these buildings were built. Okay, so you can see that I have the paper portrait style, and again, if you want to watch here for a little bit. So I'm going to go down the bottom, and here's my ground level. Okay, sort of near the bottom. I need a little bit of space because we're going to do something down there in just a moment. So, one of the things, like I said, the Gothic cathedral, you want that thing to be high. You want the walls to be high. And so, of course, if we're going to build it in our small town, we want our walls to be higher than the ones of the town just down the road. Okay? we want it to be grander, we want it to be taller, we want to get more of a feel than our neighbors just down the road. Now the problem, of course, in the Middle Ages is how do you make these walls high like this? Today we would use reinforced concrete. We would use steel inside of concrete. We'd use steel rebar to get these things up high like this. So just to give you a look, this is going to be big. Here's my front door. My front door is tiny. See this? Boom, boom. Tiny little front door, right? Okay. So how are we going to, in these times, keep these walls up high? It's not going to be an easy task. We have to make sure that the walls do not collapse. Okay. So one of the first things we're going to sort of do, we're going to add some sort of, we're going to add some interior space. So let's make sure we understand this will be inside when it's all said and done. This will be the interior of the cathedral. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to add some space over here. We're going to add some walking space. It's not going to be as large or as tall, but this is going to be inside. And this will create a little bit of a base, at least, for us to start. All right, we want to get going here. This is inside. Now, I would want to make a point here is as they are building up, I want to make sure that we know that guess what else they are doing? They are building down. And probably, and these things go really sort of the length, almost the length of these Gothic cathedrals. And these are, you know, you got to get, there's a stairwell down here. Okay, obviously you got to get down there. And I think, let's see if you can sort of guess what the name of this place is. Here's a doorway to go down there if you'd like. Okay, let me see if I could do the same thing here. Here's the stairway. Well, I won't put a door there. But this is called, ladies and gentlemen, this is called, do you know the name of it? This is called the crypt. Now, what's in the crypt? Well, the crypt certainly was a place to conduct mass for all the people of the town while the project is being done. This thing's going to take decades to build up. They need a place to have mass. They do it down in the crypt. All right. Let's say a famous person is from your area. Maybe you had a famous crusader, went to the Crusades, came back, and this person dies late in age. Well, they'll put this person, they'll bury that person in the crypt. Okay. And these things are not certainly not at all uncommon. Gothic cathedrals have these all the time. Okay, so now that's going down. Now let's pay attention to going up. Okay, so now how do we keep this wall from falling? All right, let's make sure we don't let it fall inside. We don't want it to fall to the interior. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what is called ribbed vaults. We're going to vault the ceiling. Okay, and so it looks just sort of like this. There are several types of ribbed vaults. Let's see here. Let me take a look. I'll let you take a look at this one more time. As you notice that, sort of how I'm drawing this, you see the ribs, if you will. This extra rounded space gives more space at the top. So this is my first way to keep the wall from falling. And again, I'm going to call this vaulted ribs. Okay, so I've successfully made sure that my wall is not going to fall to the inside. Okay, how the heck do I make sure it doesn't fall towards me or away from me? Well, I want to go back to this other picture of the interior that you saw just a moment ago. And one of the things I would say is, guess what this thing really isn't? It isn't a wall. It's actually, if you look very carefully here, this thing is much more of a bunch of columns. If you really look at that thing, it's a bunch of columns and arches. Now, if you look carefully, I don't know if you remember this from Roman times, but do you remember Roman aqueducts? It's the same concept. Okay, there's a difference between Romanesque architecture. Can you tell the difference? And Gothic architecture. I'm sorry, that's a little dark. Let's zoom in on that. Okay? You can see, what do you notice here at the top? Comes to a point. Romanesque architecture remains rounded. So Gothic architecture comes to a point. Gothic architecture comes to a point. Romanesque is rounded. But I think you can still see the whole point is the way we do this, make this wall, now the wall won't fall this way, it won't fall that way because it is protected, it is taken care of by these, what we're going to call arches. Okay? So the thing is not going to fall either way. 2 and 3. 2, it's not going to fall towards us. 3, it's not going to fall away from us because of what we're going to call arches. We'll call it arches and columns. Columns. Okay? All right, now how the heck do we make sure that the darn wall doesn't fall outward? Is this thing going to be enough? There's a lot of weight up here. Okay, well, these are the most unique aspects of Gothic architecture, and I just showed you these just a moment ago. We're gonna put a bunch of these all around the outside of this thing, okay? And so what we're gonna do is we're going to build these further, and they're sort of arch shaped, I will grant you, okay? And this is gonna shoot up like so, just like that. Okay, now this is outside. This is not inside, this is outside. Okay, let's even build one off of the ground out here. How's that sound? Okay, really protect this thing. This is also outside. All right, and we'll do this as well over here, obviously. Zoop, just like so. Okay, and the one off the ground here. Try to make yours as good as mine looks. Okay, and so this is number 4. Alrighty? Okay, now these are called, one of the fun words of history, because it's you're not supposed to say bad words in class, in school, but you can say this word. These are called flying buttresses. Okay, flying buttresses because they buttress the wall from falling over. All right? They protect the wall from falling to the outside. Okay? Now, you may think that we're all done here and we're just, oh boy, this is great and all this is wonderful and how easy this is. Oh no, we're not done. We're going to add some more stuff here. We need some towers. We need to make this thing bigger. Okay, so I'm going to use a pencil now to try to make this a little bit different. So we want to, and you saw the picture of my wife and I at the top of one of the towers. So we're going to do that. We're going to build a tower that is going to be taller than the actual interior of the building itself, all the way up to here. Okay. All right, right across like that. And of course, this is this is a tower. And by the way, this is inside. How's that sound? Make sure we understand that. Okay? And then, look, what's up at the top of the tower? Well, usually at Catholic churches, guess what they have? They have bells, don't they? So we'll put a cross up here. Okay? And then we will, I'll let you zoom in this for you. We'll drop a little bell. Little bell tower just like that. Okay? By the way, let's make sure this doesn't fall over. Let's build a, you kind of saw it in that other picture, we could build a flying buttress, couldn't we? We could build a flying buttress, okay, off of a flying buttress, couldn't we? To make sure this thing stays such. Okay, so now let's build a tower on the other side as well. Same thing. Okay, we'll put a bell in there. Okay, and we'll put a cross on the top of that thing. Whoops, we'll put a cross up here. Well, let's build a roof on top of our regular. We'll put a bigger cross up there. Okay, this thing's really coming together. By the way, how the heck do you get up to the bell? Well, you're gonna have to, we didn't put a door over here, so let's do that. The door to the crypt and the door to the stairway. Okay, so here goes the stairway. We probably have it on both sides, and we would definitely have it on both sides. But this is my circular staircase. There we go, just like so. Okay, all the way up to the top up there. Okay, and that's great stuff. Going to the top. Obviously, my wife and I, when we went to, you saw that picture of us. We had to climb the stairs. So you're just laughing. Here's a good one for you. Laugh at this. So there's a picture of me. Okay, there's a picture of me inside the stairwell going up the tower. Here's another picture of my wife. There's a gargoyle. By the way, notice what gargoyles do. You think they scare away spirits. Take a look at the gargoyle's spine, and there's a hole right there. What the heck is going on with that? What does that mean? Well, that means that a gargoyle's purpose is to be a gutter. So the rain hits the wall, the rain comes down the wall, goes into the gutter, okay? And then it gets spit out of the gargoyle's mouth. That's where you get the word gargle from, okay? But that's the purpose of gargoyles. Okay, so we can decorate our cathedral with all those types of things as well. Let's add one other thing here. I need my flying buttress over here, so excuse me. Like so. Bingo. By the way, this is outside. Okay. Let's make sure we add would be probably right about here. I showed you that just a moment ago. This is what is called a rose. And again, you have the picture window. It's an example of a stained glass window. Okay? And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have basically all of it. Let me just show you two more things. When you look at, speaking of stained glass windows, take a look right here. If you look very carefully at Chartres Cathedral, for example, you can see, what do you notice all the way along here, sort of like our inside area down here along these walls. You see stained glass windows, and at Chartres, they're basically the Old Testament in pictures. Why did the Old Testament need to be in pictures? Well, people in this time didn't necessarily know how to read. So this was a way for the Roman Catholic Church to teach those people the Bible without having them read anything. One of the things that people at these in these towns who had these big churches, what they always wanted was some relic from the Middle East. And these were brought back by crusaders. We'll get to them later. So what is the relic? A relic was something that had to do with the life or the time of Christ. Okay, so this is the relic that is displayed, and I can tell you it's displayed on this back side, back over here, down here, on the ground floor at Chartres Cathedral. It's this thing. Okay, guess what this thing supposedly is? This thing is supposedly the veil. It's a very thin piece of looks like cotton, but it's just a thin piece of cloth. Okay, so I've seen this thing. I didn't take this picture, but I've been there and seen it. Supposedly, Mary wore this veil across her nose and mouth while she was giving birth to Jesus Christ, so he wouldn't get her germs. Okay? And I'm going to tell you that I don't know if that's really true, what it is, but I'm going to tell you that when I was there, and you know, I was there. I've been to this church 3 times, and this was the time when we saw it. And I was there with a bunch of kids. These are alumni, obviously, and that's where my wife and I had that picture taken way up here. When I said, come on over and let's check this out. There was something about this thing that was heavy duty, and it like, whoa, this is like the real deal. There's something about this that has an aura about it. Okay, so relics brought back from the Crusades are always an important part of this. Okay, so we're all done with this. This is the end of this video. We'll just do one last thing. We'll rename this. This is going to be St. Kevin's Cathedral. How's that sound? We'll always remember it as St. Kevin's Cathedral. How's that sound? All right, everybody. Great job today. I hope yours looks as good as mine. I'm sure it does. Okay. See you soon. See you on the next one. Aloha.